Let's make something delicious. For these sour cream donut muffins, you want to start with your wet ingredients, which is 1 cup of full fat sour cream, 2 large eggs, half a cup of granulated sugar, 1/4 of a cup of packed light brown sugar, and to that we are going to add half a cup, which is 1 stick of melted unsalted butter that we have melted and cooled down some, because you don't want it to curdle your eggs or to melt your sugars. Now you want to mix all of your wet ingredients together. Yes, sugar is considered a wet ingredient because when it hits liquid, it melts and becomes a liquid ingredient. So it is considered a wet ingredient. And you should always mix it in with your wet ingredients unless the recipe says otherwise. Now to this we are going to add about 2½ teaspoons of vanilla extract. With me, that's always roughly measured. And you want to mix that in really good. At this point, you can mix as much as you want. And you do need to mix a lot to get the sour cream mixed in. You can mix as much as you want because there's no gluten in this to make anything tough. Now for our dry ingredients, we have 2 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour. We have 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, and 2½ teaspoons of baking powder. Now we're going to mix all of this together. That cornstarch will add a really nice texture to your donut muffins. So now we are going to add our dry ingredients into our wet ingredients in about 2 parts, just stirring just enough to get the first part mixed in before you add in the second, so you don't overwork the gluten. But if you dump it all in at once, it becomes a little hard to mix it all in. Now while I'm mixing this, you want to make sure you have your oven preheated to 375 degrees, and you want a 12 count muffin tin lined with muffin papers or greased with whatever you choose to grease them with. Now I'm going to add in my last part and stir it until it's just all mixed together. Now as you can see, it's all mixed up. You need to make sure every bit of dry ingredients is off the bottom because sometimes things tend to stay there. So you want to make sure everything is mixed in good. And as you can see, it's a nice thick batter. It's more like a donut dough, hence donut muffins. Now I've got a 1½ tablespoon cookie scoop that'll help me portion them out, and I'm going to drop it that way so that I can get pretty uniform muffins. Well, donut muffins. And I will do 1 big scoop in each one, and then if I have batter left, I will go back and put more on each one because you don't want to have to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. Now we've got our muffin tin completely filled. As you can see, they're not all perfect. Some are going to be a little bigger than others. It's fine. As long as it looks good from 50 yards on a galloping horse, it's fine. Now we're going to pop this into our 375 degree preheated oven, and we're going to bake them till they're nice and done in the middle. That they will be, if you test them with a toothpick, it will come out clean to moist crumbs. But you should also know by the touch that they don't sink in or anything like that when they're done. But while they're baking, we will make a glaze for them because you can't have sour cream donuts without glaze. Now the donut muffins are about half done in the oven, so now we're going to start making the glaze. In this bowl we have 1½ cups of powdered sugar, and to this we are going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, roughly measured of course. And this depends on your atmosphere in your house. If it's dry, you'll need more. If it's more humid, you'll need less. But it will be anywhere from 2 to 4 tablespoons of heavy cream. I'm going to start out with 2, and we'll see from there. It may even take more if your house is very dry, like if the heat has been on a lot. It may take even more than that to make it a nice glaze consistency. Now our glaze is done. I did have to add about 2 to 3 more tablespoons It's been really cold here. The heat's been on a lot. So keep that in mind, and I will adjust it in the ingredients list below to tell you that if you've had a dry environment in your house, you may have to add a lot more. But you want this at this consistency where you can do a figure 8 and you can still see the whole 8 by the time you get to the end. So you want kind of a thick glaze. Now these beauties are out of the oven. They baked for between 20 and 25 minutes. To be oddly specific, they baked for about 23 minutes. And as you can see, when you touch them, they're nice and springy and fluffy. And as you can see, just like a sour cream donut, these are nice and craggy, just like that. And that will help with the glazing. Now you want to let these cool just a little bit. You want to glaze them while they're still warm, but you want to let them cool just a little bit. You don't want them screaming hot straight out of the oven, and right now they're screaming hot straight out of the oven. So I'm going to let them cool for just a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Now these have cooled off till they're still warm, but they're cool enough that you can handle them. That's the biggest thing. You want them cool enough that they're not going to burn your fingers. But they're still nice and warm so they can take on the glaze. Now, you're just going to turn it upside down, hold it firmly, turn it upside down, swirl it around in your glaze, pick it up, shake it off, and turn it back over here. Now I've got my cooling rack sitting on wax paper so that if they drip a little, that way you're fine. You're not messing up everything on your countertop. Now, like I said, this is a thick glaze, so it shouldn't be really drippy. You want it that way. Now, if you like thinner glazes, go ahead and make it thinner, but it's going to be very drippy. And these are going to be like your favorite old-fashioned sour cream donut in a muffin form without all the oil and the frying and the mess. So remember, come back next time to Angela K's Kitchen, where I take you from gourmet to everyday and everything in between. God bless.
Look at this beautiful muffin. I'm really excited about trying it. Yep. It's a muffin that tastes like a sour cream donut. That's perfect. Absolutely wonderful. Really good, actually. It's so good. Angela K spent some time thinking about this one, and it's amazing. She did a great job. Just perfect. It's exactly what you're looking for if you're looking for a donut muffin. I mean, it's awesome. So you just gotta try those. It's such a great breakfast treat, and you will not be disappointed. So good, so awesome. Angela K, she can really cook, y'all.